Are you happy where you're at right now?
That's a good question. Some days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm like I don't know. I try really hard to fight my pessimistic side, I think. And most days I'm like so blown away by where I am. And other days it's just not enough. And I guess maybe that's what keeps you driven as an artist, maybe.
Yeah.
Definitely wish I didn't feel like that sometimes, but I think at the same time it's also what keeps me like wanting to do things all the time. There's always more to do.
Like, what would you want more personally right now in your life?
Just there's just so many more projects I want to be a part of, and so many more things I want to do, like creatively. But at the same time, like I never dreamed that I'd be able to do what we do. So, and I think it's just one of those things where like, as long as you still have things that you need to do and still have like goals, then happiness is still like something that you're reaching for rather than having it and not knowing what to do with it.
Yeah.
So,
what do you think happiness is to you?
That's a really good question, man. I think I ask myself that daily,
Really?
and it's hard to say, I mean, in my life, I'm most happy when I'm around my family, when I'm with these guys and we're on stage. Those are two probably the high points when I feel the most happy. When we're on stage as a band and like everything's going great, and when I'm with my family at home and hanging out with them. And other than that, it's hard to describe what happiness is really, because it's such a transient feeling. It comes and goes, and it always leaves you, desiring more. And it's weird thing.
Well, where your band's at right now, where do you see it going? Where do you want it to go?
I think this is probably some of the best questions I think we've ever been asked.
Oh, yeah.
They're really hard, but that's why they're good. I think no matter what, as long as we like close out our legacy whenever like the band ends, and it makes sense, and we can all walk away and like still like feel the way we feel about each other now, then that's all I care about. Like everything else has become secondary to me, like because I start to feel that there's something bigger at work. Like I'm not a religious person or anything like that, but I will say that there's been key moments in the band that I start to feel that I'm not in control of it, and that there are things happening that are just bigger than us, and you just start to kind of, the more you zoom out, the more you just feel like you're just a working gear in a clock, and
that's so weird, dude. Can you give me an example of like something you guys have been through?
There's so many things, and it's almost like a subconscious thing that you feel, I think, especially while writing. But just times when we should have been hurt, times when we should have gotten in trouble with the law, times that we should have been on the street, like just things that like we've gotten so, like, you could say lucky, but then there's just all these little things that are just fitting into place to kind of align and make what we do like matter right now, and it's just really strange. And I think there's one aspect of it that starts to, you're teetering on the edge of the egocentric vibe if you like look too deeply into it and you think, oh, we're destined to do this and all this stuff. But like I said, like I just feel like we have a job to do, and it's as simple as a gear turning in a clock. I don't see it as being some big majestic thing anymore. I just see it as something like we're just doing what we're supposed to be doing, and the things that personally matter to me are our relationships with each other and all the people that we've kind of brought into this with us, and whether we like become some huge worldwide band or whether we just fizzle out after our next record. Like,
Yeah,
I really,
that's all I do.
no, seriously, I think that's how we all feel. Like, as long as we, at this point, we've done so much for it, like, respectfully, and like, I think that's all we would want is for the band to end on a high note and to end on a note where like all of us are just happy and like can look at each other and be like, that was fucking cool.
When you were younger, did you ever feel like you wanted to be like the next like huge thing?
I think for sure I had moments where like you'd look up to like certain like, you know, musicians and be like, I want to be like that. But I think, you know, the more silly aspirations came when you're younger, and then as you get older, you start to just admire certain personalities about like bigger musicians and stuff, and it's not necessarily their fame or anything that's attractive. It's like the power that they have artistically, what they can do. Like those kind of people that I looked up to when I was younger, like Bono and shit like that, like, you know, Cobain, like all those people, like they shaped the world. I mean, I think that it'd be amazing to be able to do that, but I certainly don't aspire to do that because I think that leaves a lot of potential failures.
It's a lot to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's just something that would happen, and if it happened, then that's great, and I think all of us would embrace it and really take it seriously, but only to the extent of where it was healthy for us. I mean, you can only go so far with that before you drive yourself insane.
Do you think that, we were talking about spirituality and stuff, do you think that there's a higher power that kind of plays part of what bands make timeless music?
It's hard to say. Like, I mean, I don't necessarily know if I could say that there's a higher power that like has to do with that kind of specific of like, oh yeah, like this band will make this and this band won't. But I do believe that there's something greater that is kind of pulling the strings, and I think there is like I think that there's a split though where like there's a certain degree of fate and there's a certain degree of do your own thing and weave your own patterns within the fate, you know? So it's kind of like there is a choice. I do think free will exists. I don't think it's non-existent.
Yeah.
But I do think that spirituality in general or just that kind of thinking has played at least a big role in understanding where we are. Whether or not it's responsible for any of it, I have no idea.
You're older now that you guys have toured all over. Do you see people as more people now? Or was that ever?
No, absolutely. I mean, 100%. I mean, I used to get starstruck by like Rocket from the Crypt. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I got starstruck by people that like lived in our neighborhoods. You know, like, so now it's so funny because like even when I was in a touring band, I would be starstruck by the bands we were with, and like now I see it and I'm like, oh man, I was totally that guy to them. Like, you know, like I couldn't have a normal conversation because I couldn't get out of the headspace of like, oh my god, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like for instance, like the first band that I was really touring with I was in with Brendan and you know, we toured with Thursday when they were just breaking and everything, and you know, I was like starstruck just by like Jeff and like those dudes in that band, and now it's like those are just my dudes, like they're just guys, you know, that I could have a normal conversation about anything with, and to think about how I probably talked to them then, it's probably so different, and like I was probably such a little goober, I just didn't know how to like separate it, you know, but it's cool.
Do you think that like kids look at you guys the way that you looked at, you know, like Jeff and those guys?
I think some days I notice a change sometimes, you know, like we've made like a really extensive effort to kind of like reach out on a normal level, like with our website and just to everything we do, we try to really be like, hey, we're exactly like you, we're flawed, and all of us like. We get nervous just to fucking talk to you. We get nervous to like play in front of you. Like,
do you really get nervous before you go on stage?
Absolutely, every night for me.
But I see myself in almost every person that talks to us. Almost every person that tells us they like our band, whether they are acting like starstruck or whether they're like being mellow. I see myself and I see everybody in our band, and I get nervous. It just doesn't happen like it used to. It only happens at certain times. I'm not so concerned about what other people are going to think as much as doing my best.
Yeah, I don't. It's not like a thing where it's a different kind of nervous than when I was younger. I mean, when I get nervous just for everything, all the pistons to be firing at once. Like I get nervous for like my pedals to work and like you know what I mean, like things like that. Just the unknown. But on the best nights, like there's no nerves and it's just like in the moment and feeling it. But I don't mind the like it's like this weird performance anxiety that kind of gives you like energy and like makes you like fired up. I just thought of it. Another funny thing is that I was just at South by Southwest hanging out. He was performing, and I went to see Not a Surf do like an acoustic set.
Oh shit, really?
And like they're like one of my favorite bands, and I just geek out over them all the time.
Yeah.
And I saw Matthew, the singer, outside, and like had to get my picture taken with him, and I could not talk to him. Like
really?
I was just like, yeah. He was like, I was like, how's your day been? And he was just like telling me like, oh yeah, I got lost coming to the venue. I went to the wrong way, and I was just like sitting there. I was like, did it before all the time. I like didn't say a sentence. I was just kind of like, and he was like, cool, and like just looked at me, kind of just like, yeah, like, and just kind of like looked at his buddy in the front, like get this dude away from me, kind of, you know. I was just like, all right, yeah, like that guy would never in a million years guess that I was in a band, like ever. Like he was just probably like, that guy is fucking weird, like, you know. So it's kind of funny.
That's pretty crazy, actually, dude.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Have there been any other people that's happened to?
I met the lead singer of this band called Raid, this guy named Bob Nana, and he's like the lead singer and one of the main songwriters in the band, and like Colin will attest, like I was an enormous, obsessed fan with everything he did and everything Raid did, and I recently got a chance to hang with him a little bit in Chicago and talk to him, and I was like such an idiot the whole time. Like it got better because he got like drunk.
Oh yeah.
So it was like as he got more drunk, I got less. He became more of a person to me for some reason. And less of like a legend in my mind. You know, like the guy who sang to me in high school, sang to me in my car, sang to me in my headphones. You know, like guy who I would like use his words to put on a mixtape to tell a girl how I felt about her. You know, like
really?
you can't conceptualize that as an artist. And you shouldn't ever. You know, no matter how old you are, no matter how much you created or undone, it's not your place to conceptualize that and how your effect is. You know, it's your job to be an art, to be happy with what you're doing, regardless. So, but meeting him was like, it was like all of a sudden I realized like how much I am like everybody that will come and talk to us, and say much less abrasive things to me than I had said to Bob Nana. He just sent me a text message yesterday out of nowhere, for no reason. It just said, "Always do your best, and you'll be fine." Out of nowhere, and I was so freaking out about something, and it was like, have just that guy reach out to me, and he could have sent a text message that said like, suck my mom's dick. I would have been like, yes.
But he said something that was like poignant.
Yeah, I still can't comprehend the fact that I even speak to him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you think that, this kind of changes the subject a little bit, but I noticed like, as your band gets more publicity, do you think that it's humbling? It's more humbling to you? Do you ever get an ego kick out of it?
I think, good.
There you go.
I definitely get flattered sometimes. I think for the most part, it's like we've like had an ongoing battle with like just like how to deal with press and how to do anything right, and that that whole area, and it's great when someone gets it and really just presents it the right way, and that just feels amazing when you're like, yes, like, even if it's the tiniest publication.
Like a review or something.
Yeah, whatever. Like, if they get it to the fullest extent and they're like, it doesn't matter. Whatever the case is, if they get it and it comes through in the piece, whether it's a review or an interview or anything, then it's like, it's really awesome. It's a great feeling because you just feel like you've communicated in like multiple levels, you know, not only back and forth to the interviewer or to the reviewer, but also now they've communicated what you do even more simply to like all these other people that are going to read it. But I think it's definitely a humbling thing, especially when you like read something that you said and you're just like, fuck. Like, I've definitely been like, God, I never shut up. Like, that's one of my things. I talk forever, as you can see.
Have you ever had like a review that's made you feel bad? Like,
yeah, definitely.
The thing is that, you know, the more that this band and we all like go toward making more music and being more creative and you know, the more I think everybody's starting to realize that it you know, that speaks for itself. You know, that it's the message that we can send, the closest, easiest, you know, least intertwined pipeline is just the music, the songs. You know, it's not so much important, you know, what we have to say, you know, because I'm a bumbling idiot, you know, like I contradict myself constantly, and my feelings contradict themselves constantly. I'm just, you know, just as back and forth with my own feelings as everybody, you know. So it's humbling to read your own words and be like, wow, you know, I'm an asshole. I shouldn't fucking say that shit. And it's a good learning experience, but I think as this band gets any more attention, you know,
Hold that up for
the more aware we are of how important it is just to write the songs that and that mean like what we want to mean, instead of, you know, trying to constantly articulate it to people. You know, like the song speaks for itself, you know, and it doesn't matter, you know, if people get it or not. You know, it would be great if they did, because when I got it from somebody else, it was the best feeling I ever had. You know, and when I get it from a song that we write, it is the best feeling I ever have. You know, so that is something that's definitely cool when it happens, but we'll be making the music regardless of whether or not it happened to anybody but us.
Yeah. I think it's weird to walk a fine line between feeling like anybody that likes what we do almost has like part ownership of it, and then also being on the fence of like feeling that at the same time as feeling like whatever we do is what we do, so it doesn't fucking matter. So it's like you feel that completely half and half. You know, you feel like, all right, but we are what we are because of these people. So it's like, do they have like a say in like what we do? Like, should we be worried about making them happy, or should we just make ourselves happy? Or will we make them happy by just making ourselves happy? So it's like you flip out about that all the time and just kind of like realize that all you can do is just be yourself and do what you can do, and kind of have other people in the back of your mind, but don't let them have too much of an influence, because
your family, your friends,
yeah,
the other guys in your band, you know, like that shit. Everybody's so similar, you know, and everybody feels like, you know, the same type of pain, same type of suffering, same type of joy. So if you create something that's making you joyous, you know, and making your friends joyous, and, you know, who's to speculate how it's going to make a group of people feel, or whoever buys your records feel? But I would say, you know, like, you know, lights make everybody feel good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like the sunshine makes almost everybody feel good, you know, like you can't please them all, you know, and then there's people that can't handle the sun, you know, there's people that can't handle bright lights, and there's people that can't handle, you know, candy, you know what I mean? But it makes a lot of people happy, ice cream. People love ice cream, you know? And if you love it, it's something that you feel, and you don't have to talk about it, you don't have to say it, it just feels good, it tastes good.
Yeah.
It is good, you know, and maybe not good for everybody, but I mean, that's the type of subconscious underlining feeling that I think happens with art, and especially with music, the feeling goes through your body, you know, when you hear something, and you know it. And you know, like I said, like we'd be doing this regardless of whether or not there were people telling us it was good or people buying the records. Like I'm sure, like 100%. But you know, and your you know, the group knows as Circa Survive. We know when there's something that's really special.
Yeah.
You can tell it. And when we feel like there's something special, that we're, you know, a little group of dudes. It's a microcosm, you know, of everything. You know, why would we want to, you know, speculate on what everybody's gonna like from it? You know, like if that's, you know, if we're trying to make a shit ton of money, you know, that would make sense. You know, but I think that, you know, it would be great to make a shit ton of money, but it would be fucking amazing to make art that we can fucking wear, nothing else, completely naked, and die for it, and like kill ourselves for it, because we believe in it so much, and there's not 1 ounce of, oh, I need a car, or I need a house, or I need to get this for my wife, or I need to get this for my fucking parents, you know, it's nothing, you just need to get it out of your body, and you need to communicate it, you don't know why.